bit of standing water out here. So if I do manage to actually get the plane past this water, then we are going to go do a fun local flight. There's a couple of spots I want to go check out, and yeah, I think it will be a very good day to talk about minimum heights.
I see a sky with a rainy car, but I'm not running.
Okay, so temperature is almost ready to taxi. So when we're going to talk about minimum heights or low flying, we are definitely going to do some myth busting. Particularly the myth that you're not allowed to fly lower than 1,000 feet above the ground. Runway traffic in Juliet Charlie, taxiing from hangars to runway intersection. It's at times like these, I'm grateful for these bigger tires, because with small tires, I definitely would not do this. Almost got stuck there. What I can check is past the one is controls free, full and correct. Like that. So we've got a bit of a crosswind. Regarding low flying up on the screen. I'm not going to keep it there for long, so pause the video if you want to read it. But it basically goes like this. Any aircraft except for the purpose of takeoff or landing are not allowed to fly lower than 1,000 feet over built-up areas or an open air assembly of people. And I've heard so many pilots tell me that you're not allowed to fly lower than 1,000 feet, and that is not the case. If you look at the very next sentence. But before that, there's actually an area I want to go check out over here. So one way I like to lose heights very quickly, slipping turns. And just check that speed. We're losing 800 feet per minute. I think we can do better. 1,200 feet a minute, and we're not even doing 70 miles an hour. Lava green, this area is very, very cool. So there's houses in front of me which I'm going to avoid.
So the cockpit audio recording ended up sounding quite terrible. I think I forgot to turn on the active noise reduction on my headset. So I'm quickly going to run through what was said, and then we're going to return to the flying part of the video. We've done part A of the rule, which is regarding built-up areas. Part B of the rule states that when flown elsewhere than stated in paragraph A, no aircraft shall be flown at a height of less than 500 feet over the ground or water, unless the flight can be made without hazard or nuisance to persons or property on the ground. So there's quite a bit of ambiguity in there, as you'll see in a second. Since nuisance is a completely subjective term, it makes it a little bit more difficult to interpret. So let's look at it in isolation. To explain, consider a scenario where I fly overhead a buddy's farm. Let's say he's standing on his farmland and he likes airplanes. So if I fly at a height of, let's say, 100 feet over him, he isn't nuisanced because he likes airplanes. So in this case, I didn't break the nuisance part of the rule. But let's say that person is not my buddy, and let's say he hates airplanes. So if I fly at, again, 100 feet over him and he is nuisanced, that would mean that I did in fact break the nuisance part of that rule. Thus, it's completely up to the person on the ground to decide if my low flying over his farm was a nuisance or not, and whether I broke the rules or not, even though he more than likely doesn't know the rules about low flying. However, the rule isn't just about nuisance but also about hazard. This term is much easier to interpret since it isn't subjective. So in that same scenario, even if flying 100 feet over him isn't a nuisance to him, it is a hazard to him, since I could suffer an engine failure or in-flight breakup and end up hurting my buddy. The chances of that are very minuscule, but it could happen, and that definitely makes me a hazard. So I'd say that definitely puts me in contravention with the rules. But what about property? Can I fly at a height of less than 500 feet over terrain where there are no persons on the ground? Let's imagine a scenario where I fly at 100 feet over property. I'd say I'm definitely a hazard to the property, since I could have an engine out or in-flight breakup and end up damaging the property. But consider that even if I fly at the legal height of 500 feet over the property, I'm still a hazard to the property, since if I have an engine failure, I definitely won't be able to outfly the property, or in the case of an in-flight breakup, I will end up damaging the property. Heck, even if I fly at a height of over 2,000 feet over a larger property, I'm still a hazard to it. Thus, assuming I'm flying over a property with no persons in the vicinity, I am no more of a hazard flying 100 feet over the property than I would be if flying 2,000 feet over the property. So in this scenario, I'd argue that I'm not in contravention with the rule when flying at 100 feet over unpopulated property. So this is obviously my interpretation of the rule using my own logic, but I've heard quite a few different interpretations from different pilots, which is to be expected with the ambiguous terms this rule was written in. Make sure to hit that like button if you like this video so far, and let's get back to the flying.
So I'm going to check out this road basically in the middle of nowhere, and if there's no cars or people, I'm going to fly a little bit closer to it, so I can legally descend another 500 feet, because I'm not over any built-up areas. Not yet, anyway. Okay, so I'm actually going to stay at 500 feet because there are what seems like a car in front of me. So I'm not going to break the rules for this video, or in general. Let's go to the next spot. What is my fuel situation? Still good. So when I do steep turns or something like that, I always want to make sure that I'm below my VA speed, which is my max maneuver speed. This plane is 90 miles an hour. There's some nice canyons in this area. From the looks of it on Google Earth, doesn't seem there's any structures, any roads. So I'm going to do some low flying there. Oh, here we are. Just over there. So we're about 600 feet above ground level. I'm going to stay here for now. Of course, there is definitely some loose structures below me. Whoa! That if I bump cap on for that, that could have really hurt. I've spotted an area where there's no structures, no roads, and there's a nice little waterfall which I'm going to check out. Oh well, the water is actually flowing quite strong here. Very nice. There does seem to be a bit of a road which I like. Well, there's no cars, but the road always a good safety option for flying low if I need to put it down.
Descending from 10,000 feet, 2,000 feet, cruising for one of
Do a bit of a slipping turn. I want to pick up speed. I want to stay nice and agile. Way below VA. No power lines. Well, I'm not going to go that low, but no power lines. Okay, let's see what the wind has cooked up for us at the airfield. Quite a bit of wind, probably about 15 knots. Gusting mid-20. So it's well within my and within the plane's capability, but I'm not going to underestimate it. That's for sure. It's probably going to be on runway 09, and I'm not going to land on the gravel because it has rained so much in the past couple of days. I don't want to get stuck or nose over or really make the plane any more dirtier than it already is. Hello, Mr. Windsock. Okay, so 09. The wind seems to have calmed down a bit. Now let's try to do a short landing with a little bit of wind helping. Let's see what I can do. My midpoint is going to be the runway number, the 09 number. I'm going to aim to touch down right on it. So yeah, let's make it fun. Because why not? Fox traffic in New Charlie on the right hand downwind, runway 09, full stop landing. I'm going to approach about 50 miles an hour just to compensate for the gust factor. So I would normally do 45, but now I'm still crabby. Okay, full flaps. I think I'm going to up a little bit. Okay, let's take it from here. Full traffic, New Charlie, final approach, 09, full stop landing. It is somewhat gusty. Not very pretty. The wind did get me there a little bit, and I did drop as well. I really hope you enjoyed my little fun flying video while mixing a little bit of aviation rules and regulations into it. Yeah, so drop a comment below, let me know if you liked it or not, and yeah, see you in the next one.